Hey Garden Fam! Welcome back to The Sprout. Today we're talking about one of the toughest, most secure, and most rewarding plants for a living fence, blackthorn. You might know it as sloe or just plain thorn, but whatever you call it, this is the plant that has been guarding hedgerows and property lines for centuries. Blackthorn is a dense, thorny shrub that forms an impenetrable barrier. It's native to Europe and Western Asia, but it's become popular in gardens around the world. In spring, it's covered in a froth of white blossoms that bees and butterflies love. In autumn, it produces small blue-black fruits called sloes, which are used to make sloe gin, jams, and jellies. And in between, it provides a fortress-like hedge that keeps people and animals out. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We put out new gardening videos every week, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Also, drop a comment below. Have you ever grown blackthorn? Have you ever made sloe gin? I'd love to hear about it. Now let's get into it. First, let's talk about why blackthorn makes such a great hedge. Blackthorn, or Prunus spinosa, is a deciduous shrub that grows 6 to 7 meters tall if left unclipped, but as a hedge, you can keep it at any height you want. It has long, sharp thorns that are incredibly effective at keeping livestock, pets, and unwanted visitors out. It's completely stalk-proof if maintained properly. It also grows from suckers, which means it will naturally fill in gaps and thicken over time. Now, let's talk about the benefits of a blackthorn hedge. First, security. Those thorns mean business. A blackthorn hedge is a serious deterrent. Second, wildlife value. The spring flowers are an early nectar source for pollinators. Birds and small mammals feed on the sloes in winter. It's a wildlife haven. Third, free food. The sloes can be harvested and turned into sloe gin, jams, jellies, and fruit leathers. They're also high in vitamin C. Fourth, low maintenance. Once established, blackthorn requires very little care. It's tough, adaptable, and doesn't need constant attention. Now let's talk about planting. The best time to plant blackthorn is during the dormant season, from November to early April, when bare root plants are available. Choose a spot in full sun to partial shade. Blackthorn thrives in sun, but tolerates light shade. It's fully hardy and grows in most types of soil as long as it's well drained. It does not like wet, soggy ground. If you're planting a bare root hedge, soak the roots in water for about 30 minutes before planting. Dig a trench for your hedge. Space the plants about 30 to 45 centimeters apart for a dense hedge. That's roughly 3 plants per meter. For a single line hedge, you can space them 45 centimeters apart. If you want an even thicker hedge, plant a double row with plants staggered. Spread the roots out in the trench, backfill with soil, firm down gently, and water thoroughly. After planting, cut the plants back to about 30 centimeters high. This encourages bushy growth from the base. Mulch around the plants with organic matter, but keep it away from the stems to prevent rot. Now let's talk about watering and fertilizing. Water regularly during the first year to help the roots establish. Blackthorn is drought tolerant once established, but consistent moisture helps it get a good start. Fertilizing is optional. Blackthorn is not a heavy feeder. In poor soil, you can apply a balanced fertilizer in spring, but honestly, it's a tough plant that does fine on its own. Some gardeners add compost or well-rotted manure at planting time. Now let's talk about pruning. Blackthorn is low maintenance, but it does need some care. For a hedge, prune after flowering in late spring or early summer. This encourages dense, bushy growth. If you want to keep your hedge neat and manageable, clip it to shape after the flowers fade. For neglected hedges, you can prune hard in late winter or early spring before growth resumes. But remember, blackthorn flowers on old wood. If you prune in winter, you'll lose the spring blossoms that year. And here's a word of caution. Blackthorn branches produce suckers. This is how it spreads. If you want to keep your hedge in bounds, you'll need to remove suckers regularly. If you don't, your hedge will spread into your lawn or the neighbor's yard. Wear thick gloves and eye protection when pruning. The thorns are sharp and can cause nasty cuts. Now let's talk about common problems. Let's go through them one by one. Problem 1, pests and diseases. Blackthorn can be affected by aphids and caterpillars, but they usually don't cause serious damage and are part of a healthy garden ecosystem. Silverleaf is a fungal disease that can cause branch dieback. Prune in mid-summer to reduce the risk. Blossom wilt can cause leaves and blossoms to brown and wilt. Remove affected parts. Xylella fastidiosa is a bacterial disease that affects a range of plants, but it's not common in all regions. Problem 2, suckers. Blackthorn spreads by suckers. This is great for filling in gaps, but it can be invasive. Remove suckers regularly to control spread. You can also use root barriers. Problem 3, thorns. Yes, they're the point, but they can make maintenance challenging. Always wear thick gloves when pruning. Problem 4, bare in winter. Blackthorn is deciduous. It loses its leaves in winter, so it won't provide privacy during cold months. Combine it with an evergreen hedge for year-round screening. Here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Are you inspired to plant a blackthorn hedge? Have you ever made sloe gin? I'd love to know. Now, let's talk about blackthorn in the landscape. A blackthorn hedge is perfect for property lines, boundaries, and security. It's also excellent for wildlife corridors. Plant it with other native hedging plants like hawthorn, hazel, and spindle for a mixed hedge. It's particularly good for exposed sites and maritime climates because it's very wind resistant. And of course, it's wonderful for wildlife. If you want to attract birds, bees, and butterflies to your garden, blackthorn is a must. Now let's talk about harvesting sloes. Sloes ripen in autumn, usually after the first frost. The frost softens the fruit and reduces its astringency. Harvest them when they're blue-black and slightly soft. Be careful of the thorns. Use secateurs to snip the branches. Sloes are traditionally used to make sloe gin, but you can also make jams, jellies, and fruit leathers. They're also rich in vitamin C. Now let's talk about the different uses. Blackthorn wood is very hard and was traditionally used for walking sticks, rake teeth, and turnery. The bark is a source of tannin and was used to make ink and dyes. The leaves can be used as a tea substitute. It's a plant with a long history of practical uses. Let me give you a few quick answers to common questions. How tall does blackthorn get? Up to 7 meters, but you can keep it as low as you like with pruning. How fast does it grow? Moderate, but it's tough and resilient. Does it need full sun? It prefers sun but tolerates light shade. When should I plant it? The dormant season, November to April, for bare root plants. How far apart should I plant it? 30 to 45 centimeters apart for a single row hedge. Is blackthorn good for wildlife? Yes, it's one of the best native plants for wildlife. Let's wrap everything up. Blackthorn is one of the most practical, tough, and rewarding plants for a hedge. Give it full sun to partial shade. Plant in well-draining soil. Space plants 30 to 45 centimeters apart. Water during the first year, then only during dry spells. Prune after flowering to maintain shape. Remove suckers to control spread. And harvest sloes in autumn for sloe gin, jam, and jellies. Here's the most important thing to remember. Blackthorn is a hedge for people who value security and wildlife. It's not for the faint of heart. Those thorns are serious. But if you need a low-maintenance, impenetrable, food-producing, wildlife-friendly barrier, blackthorn is your answer. Plant it, water it for the first year, and then let it do its thing. You'll have a fortress that feeds you and the birds. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Are you going to plant a blackthorn hedge? What would you make with the sloes? I'd love to know. Also, what topic should I cover next? Hawthorn? Hazel? Mixed hedges? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you. See you in the next video.